Hi, welcome to Beyond the Surface. This video is going to be a little different than my other videos. If you're looking for more practical, everyday life videos, you probably want to check out my other videos. Because this video and videos like it are going to be part of my series of spiritual awakening and non-duality. So it might be a little bit out there for many people. Or maybe you'll be right here with me. All right, let's get into it. And there's no structure in this video. I'm just doing whatever comes up in my awareness. It's kind of funny how we all play roles. Right now I'm playing the role of a YouTuber. You're playing the role of a viewer. We can change those roles whenever we want. You may be playing the role of a person who feels like that sounds crazy. I might be playing the role of someone who's being defensive that you think is crazy. We play thousands of roles throughout the day. Let's say you're going to work and your job title is a lawyer. You're playing the role. You clock in, you start the role. And you have roles within roles. You're a consultant. You're a listener. You're a boss. You're a collaborator. All these are different roles. Then you clock out, and many people still feel like they're still playing that same role. They get home and someone says, "How was your day?" "Oh, well, this happened and this happened and this happened." Now you're playing the role of family member. And you're telling about your role of being a lawyer. You might go to bed at night and just feel like, why am I being a lawyer? Why? But your role as a lawyer already stopped when you clocked out. And I mean, you can apply that to any job title. But, it's far out. Depends on how far out you want to go. How much you can handle, how much you can take. How much you can rest in without feeling like you're losing your mind. Because that's the tricky thing. You want to, for freedom, to feel freedom, to see that you're something deeper than the roles that you play. There's a certain amount of feeling like you're going out of your mind that you have to be okay with. Which is very contrary to American society. A lot of people are playing their roles very tightly. I gotta be logical, I gotta be rational, 100%. If I slip with this role a little bit, everything's gonna fall apart. You get into relationships, whether intimate or professional or relational. And there's this unconscious feeling of, I'll play the role that you expect me to play, and you play the role that I expect you to play. And when we play those roles together, everything's going to be harmony. But if we deviate from those roles, then I'm going to try to force you to tell me that I'm somebody. And you're going to force me to tell And you're going to force me to tell you that you're somebody. And we have to be somebodyness together. Of course, a lot of us don't realize we're doing that consciously, but that's what we're doing. You have to behave in just the right way and talk just the right way. And if you're too rude or you're too angry or you're too dismissive, I don't feel okay. Because you're not showing me that I'm somebody. It's pretty far out. And in a way, everything we feel, all the emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, fear, love, lust, desire, competence, everything. We've been taught that it's something external. There's something external outside of us that causes us to feel happy or sad and fearful and all these emotions and all these experiences. But really it's just originating from within us, and we're projecting it externally. And we're doing it every second of the day. Depends on how far out you want to go, how much you can handle. And it's tricky because, there's absolute truths that are still true. But even though they're true, depends on how much you can handle. Because you can take off the training wheels and just go right to direct truth. But in doing that, you can also lose your mind completely and not even be able to function. But you'll find truth. And there's deeper and deeper levels of truth, depending on how far you want to go. Sometimes it's practical and necessary to not even go all the way to the full deepest truth or deepest truths, because you'd be giving up a lot. Is that too far out? And the ego, which is just, in my definition, the way you process information and process the world, how you make meaning of it, will put up a bunch of defense mechanisms to say, whoa, we're going too far. So it'll say, oh, is this spiritual bypassing? Is this developmental bypassing? Should I listen to this person? Should I listen to myself? So your mind will come in to your awareness and tell you if it feels like you're going too far. Then there's a part of you that just wants to keep on going. You ever look at someone and you have a hard time looking at them in the eyes for too long because you feel like you're losing yourself or you feel ungrounded? You ever talk to someone that feels like that is mentally unstable, and you, just by talking to them and being around them, you start to feel yourself becoming ungrounded, almost like you're starting to pick up their energy or their vibe, or they're contagious and you feel like you're starting to lose your mind yourself. Well, there's something there. Well, you may think that people will, that once you have an experience where you realize that you're one with everything, and you don't just think it, but you feel it. You feel no boundary between yourself and another person. You feel what they feel. There's no boundary. You may feel like, wow, this is really, wow. Try to put it into words and you can't contain it, because reality is infinite. You might feel that draw towards somebody where you're like, oh, I don't know what it is about them, but I feel drawn to them. What is that? Oh, that's you looking back at yourself. Oh yeah, it sounds out there. But you know, a lot of us are still trying to like hold on. And it's beautiful, you know? It's beautiful that we're really trying to believe that we're somebody in the absolute sense. It's beautiful. Go through our day, someone says something we don't like, someone does something we don't like, a situation doesn't go the way we want. We get really into our somebodyness. This isn't fair. How could this person behave this way? You look around, some other people aren't responding the same way you are. What's that about? They see the situation, but they're not as emotionally invested as you are. You know, these paradoxes that come up. From a personal viewpoint, life is very personal. If something happens to us, we feel very raw emotions about it. The same thing happens to someone else. Yeah, we feel emotion about it, but not as deeply as if it happens to us. How's that paradox? Where does that come from? So it's a really tricky game that we play. Here in the West, in America, we're conditioned one way. We're conditioned to want to be somebody important. And we try very hard to be somebody important. We go to a job. We try to get a certain amount of money. Or we play a different role where we say, oh, I'm not about money. I'm about the spiritual stuff. So we get all this spiritual, material stuff. Get the books on yoga postures. Light the incense. And I mean, it's a great game. I mean, I play that game. You know? It's another level. You play the game of saying, look at this person. Look at this person. Oh, all they care about is money. All they care about is getting ahead. Don't they see they're stuck in the rat race? That's a game. And you looking at that is a game looking at a game. Depends on how far out you want to go. Because your game is, oh, that person's not spiritual. That person is very materialistic. I feel a little bit better than them. That's a game. It's on another level, but it's still the same game. Me making this video is a game. on another level. I'm making a game about a game about a game. I'm making a game about spirituality, making a game about materialism, making a game about itself. And it depends on how far out you want to go, how much you can handle. How much you can handle and what's your decision or what you feel like your purpose is in the world. If you feel like your purpose is to find ultimate truth, then you just keep on going. Keep on going down that rabbit hole. If your purpose is to find truth but also help people, and you don't really care about the deepest truth where you just give up everything, okay, then do that. I mean, neither one is right or wrong. Notice that defense mechanism that comes up, that may come up in you of, oh, nothing's right or wrong. That sounds so immoral. That sounds so dangerous. That means you could do anything. You can hurt people or you can help people. Yeah. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. You're going to deal with consequences regardless. Depends on how far out you want to go. I think, oh, we gotta go. We can't go this far. We gotta stop somewhere. We gotta put a stop somewhere because this could turn into a cult. Yeah, it could. Oh, I don't want to be in a cult. Okay, then don't. Oh, I want to be in a cult. I don't think anyone ever really wants to be in a cult. Depends on how far you want to go. And I'm just doing all this because, you know, it's freeing. It's like I'm taking off this heavy costume. This heavy, as Ram Dass would say, heavy space suit. But of course, the way I orient myself in the world and the way I find my purpose in a world that's ultimately meaningless is I work on balancing both. Oh, that sounds hypocritical. Yeah. That sounds paradoxical. Yeah. Can you be a hypocrite if you know you're being a hypocrite, but also see that there's nothing else you can do because it's part of the human condition? Oh, depends on how far you want to go, how much you can handle. But isn't it all beautiful? When you stop, when you sit back and you just watch it all happening, isn't it so beautiful? Everyone's making meaning. People have differences in their meaning. There's conflict. There's violence. There's people coming into the world. There's people leaving the world. Isn't it all beautiful? I say no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not beautiful that people are dying. It's not beautiful that there's violence. It's not beautiful that there's tension. Well, you can't have one without the other. Yeah, I mean, in a relative domain of life, the dualistic ways of life, you need to have a comparison from one and the other. You know, short, tall, old, young, alive, dead. You need to have that That's just there. And on one level, it's necessary. You know, you could also just throw it all away and just say, yeah, I'm just going to rest in this non-dual experience and realize that everything's beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful. Depends on how far you want to go. It sounds very relativistic. Well, I mean, wherever you go, there you are. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know yourself. Might think, who is this crackpot making this video? Depends on where you're standing. Depends on where you're standing. If you're on the journey of a spiritual awakening, you'll see it one way. If you're a traditional psychologist, you'll see it another way. If you're a holistic psychologist, you'll see it another way. You'll see what I'm saying another way. You know, if you're a mathematician, you'll see it a different way. If you're a kid, you'll see it a different way. If you're an adult, you'll see it a different way. But like, you know, who's right? Well, it depends on where you're standing. Part of it, you could say, on some level, it depends on the necessity of the situation you find yourself in. That's all, and this is just a in real-time example of roles that we play. How far you want to go with it, how deep you want to go with it. Because in a certain sense, you know, it's beautiful. It's painful at times. Sometimes people ask me, how are you? And I'll say, oh, I'm living the dream. Sometimes it's a nightmare. Depends on how you look at it. Sometimes it's best to, if there's a situation that it's expected to be a certain way, then I show only as many layers as needed for that situation to be effective. I'm still being authentic. You know, I mean, just think about it. If I go to the bank, just for an example, you know, if you go to the bank and you're there and you're waiting in line and you get up to the counter, and so it depends on what layers you want to use. Some will be better than others in that context, in a relative sense. If you go up to the teller and you say, hey, I'm nobody. It's nice to meet you, nobody. Isn't it great how we're having this dance together? We're having this cosmic joke where we're playing roles that you're the bank teller and I'm the customer. Isn't that so beautiful? I mean, you could play that layer. I mean, they'll probably reach for the button. Depends on, you know, how far you want to go. So in that situation, maybe the best layers to show is the relative, what's expected. Hi, how are you today? I'm good, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. I'd like to make a bank deposit. Okay, and would you like it in this account? Yes, please. Okay, we can do that for you. And do you have any ID that you can show me? Oh yeah, sure, I have this driver's license or I have this passport. Great. Maybe those are the layers you need for that situation. Now the whole time you can be doing that and realize deeper layers as like, oh, isn't this beautiful that we're having this cosmic game and we're playing roles. And when I'm looking in your eyes, I'm seeing myself back at me because we're all one. Isn't that beautiful? You can still not deny that within yourself, but sometimes and oftentimes it's better not to share that because it's not those extra layers are not needed for that situation and can cause more stress and confusion and harm than good, relatively speaking. And who knows, maybe, using that same example, the bank teller will feel something within themselves when they look at you by your presence. And maybe there'll be something in them that's like, oh, wait a minute, am I playing a role? And they may understand deeper and deeper levels of that. But I mean, if you really want to zoom all the way out with this situation, it's, depending on how you want to look at it, it's two people in the same physical space, saying a bunch of vowels and a bunch of tones and cadences and vocal noise to each other. Or I mean, you can look at that same situation, and I mean, we're picking it apart from different layers and just looking at this situation, just boom, 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 boom. Like, look at that situation from a practical level, like a logical level. Well, this person is having a stream of logic in their thoughts, and they're making sentences, and the other person's making sentences. You can look at it from a psychology standpoint of like, oh, okay, so this person is sharing about themselves, and on some level they want to feel that acceptance and that closeness. So they're sharing a little bit about their emotions and how they see the world, and the other person is doing the same. You can go to a level of, for this same situation of, oh, this person might be a Libra and the other person is a Leo. Depends on how far you want to go. And who knows, you might see this video and hear me talking about all this stuff. And you might be out in your daily life and there may be someone that you couldn't imagine would have that perspective. And yet they're playing the role. And they don't share the behind the scenes of what's going on with them. Maybe they feel the same way. I'm like, oh, isn't this beautiful how we're playing this role? How do you know? Oh, isn't it? It's so great. Even, different roles. Like, I used to hear spiritual teachers talk about stuff that I'm talking about in this video. And my role at the time was I felt like I was somebody, 100% relative and absolute, that I was somebody. So I would listen to them and I'd have the role of a skeptic, of a judgmental person, of there's something weird about them. They seem too light. They seem too peaceful, too content. This just seems weird. Hopefully they get the help they need. Yeah, that's what they need. That's the role I was playing. That might be the role you're playing, or that might be the role some of you know is playing. They don't realize it's a role yet. They don't realize how deep that goes. And who are you to tell them that they're playing a role if they're not ready to see they're playing a role? Who gives you that right? When they're ready to hear it, they're ready to hear it. When they're not, they're not. Oh, and just, I'm saying all this in this video, but, we all have moments where we get caught up, where we think we're somebody, you know? And, you throw religion into it, you know, playing, playing hide and seek with ourselves, forgetting that we're God. That God looks at the world as beautiful, as there's no bad. And all the violence and all the compassion and everything in the world is all beautiful. And you throw in the structures and the moral frameworks of, if you do this, then you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to heaven. And this place on earth is a trial run for the afterlife. Depends on how you view it. If you're deeply into religion and you feel like the literal wording of the Bible or your chosen holy book, you'll say that that literally this is all true. If you're someone that's into New Age spirituality, you may say, well, let's calm it down here a little bit. What as if heaven and hell is the mindset? What as if the training ground is really just everyday life, and we're in heaven and hell constantly throughout our life, depending on how much we find ourselves and lose ourselves, how much we forget that we're God. It depends on where you want to look at it. Exoteric, well, if you look at it like that, like there's a lot of beauty in it, and it builds communities, and it gives people meaning in their life. And esoteric, it looks at those teachings and says, well, what if it's deeper than that? What if you can find out that you're God in yourself? What if you can find out that everybody's God? Depends on how you want to look at it. Depends on what role you're playing. Depends on what's necessary. How much of reality and the different layers of your human condition are in your awareness. Wherever you go, there you go. Wherever you go, there you are. You change a state, you change to a different country, you're still there. You still have the internal dialogue and the interpretations and perspective and opinion on the world and of yourself. It changes a little bit, but the base structures are still there. That's the deeper meaning of wherever you go, there you are. And after a while, you can start to realize that, oh, that last relationship was terrible. This new relationship's going to be a lot better. No, it's not. It's going to be about the same. Oh, when I get this new job, my life's going to be a lot better. No, it's not. It's going to be about the same. Once I get this amount of money, my life's going to be a lot better. No, it's not. It's going to be about the same. I mean, yes, you'll have more ability to eat better foods and use more resources and be able to have a level of stress ease and be more relaxed, which will help and will trickle into other parts of your life, yes, but ultimately, it's not going to fulfill you. You're not going to get that contentment and that fulfillment you were hoping to get. And you may, and then so a lot of times, we just go into, well, this material stuff, money, status, rat race, trophy husband, trophy wife. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. That doesn't fulfill me. That doesn't make me feel whole or content. I'm done striving for that stuff. Let me go into the spiritual. Yeah, that's where I'll find it. You start in the beginning, you start picking up different books and different modalities, and you start to feel like, oh, I'm learning this secret knowledge that's spiritual. It's not material, it's spiritual. And you just start doing the same thing, but on another level. Depends on how far out you want to go. You just keep doing the same thing. I mean, it's no judgment. I do the same thing. But, buy more and more books. You start going to more and more retreats and do more yoga, more meditation. Start to learn about chakras. Start to learn about energy. And you start to feel like, oh, yeah, I'm starting to feel fulfillment and content, and this is great. Oh, this is amazing. And then after a while, you go into it deep enough, you start to realize, oh, I'm doing the same thing. I've changed my status and money seeking and external validation for spiritual materialism. Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that weird? isn't that me doing it to myself, eating my own tail? Isn't that quite the feedback loop? And so you start to have like a even deeper dark night of the soul. Like, I'm having a hard time holding on to like meaning and the stuff. Like material stuff, like money and status and all this stuff. I don't feel fulfilled by spiritual stuff, meditation, yoga. Like, I feel like a deeper fulfillment, but I still feel like there's something missing. Maybe I need to find my soulmate. I tried that. That didn't work. My dream job. I tried that. That didn't work. And you might start thinking, well, maybe I need to find enlightenment. Maybe that's going to be my North Star. Not the spiritual stuff, not the material stuff, but the enlightenment. So you hear, need to chop wood and before enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. Okay. After enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. Okay. And what? What is this? And it's like, oh, well, what does that mean? Or some koans about clapping with one hand. You start to wonder, like, what is all this? Like, yeah, and so you just keep on going down that journey, and eventually, you can stress yourself out enough and wear yourself out and really burn through that karma, and you might see that you might reach up against the limits of language and realize that the limit to language was a big problem the whole time. And not just, words that you use or sign language or body language. Not just that, but also your internal dialogue, because that's language. How you associate your different sensations in your body, that came from language. How you associate different thoughts that you have and how people should behave and how people should be and how situations should be and how technology should be and all these different things, that's part of language. And so you can get to the point where it's like, well, maybe it's the limits of language that is really the issue. Maybe that's what it is. Depends on how far you want to go. Eventually you may find that no matter where you go, there you are. And you just rest in that deeper and deeper and deeper. until you forget about all that stuff and you just are there and you're just doing what you've been doing. But this whole thing is like, you know, part of you gotta be somebody before you realize you're nobody. You gotta go through it all, you know? Because even if you go around saying, yes, we're all one and I'm always wherever I go, even if you say all that, like, you still feel like you're somebody. You just gotta keep on trying to grasp onto things, grasp onto making a lot of money, grasp onto having the perfect relationship, grasp onto trying to use more sophisticated, complex intellectual language. Try to be very popular if that's what you want to do. Try to have a bunch of partners if that's what you want to do. Try so many different things until you realize more and more that you can't grab what's always been there. And then eventually that awareness will start to become stronger and stronger, and you'll become more and more comfortable with it. When it first happens, you can have a spiritual awakening or a state experience of oneness or non-duality, and you can be frightened by it. You could be scared by it. You could feel like you're losing your mind. You might check yourself into the hospital. You know, it's real, the real stuff that happens. You might feel like you're just going into this nihilistic, everything is meaningless spiral when you have those experiences. And eventually, you know, they can happen more and more frequently. And they can feel weird and uncomfortable, and like you're feeling like you're walking around groundless because there's nothing to hold on to. And yet you're desperately trying to grasp on this stuff. Your old religion, your old way of making meaning, the different roles that were conditioned to you by your society, all these different things you're just trying to grab, and you just feel like you're falling out of a plane and you're just still trying to grab. And eventually those experiences of non-duality or pure awareness keep on happening more and more, and eventually you get more and more comfortable by it. And then they start to happen and start to have a longer duration. And then eventually it just feels natural and just common. And you just still live your life. I mean, and that just, this whole video is just me going deeper and deeper, layer on layer, on that simple saying of you got to be somebody before you can be nobody. And then once you realize you're nobody, you go back to being somebody, but in a different way than when you thought you were somebody. And, you know, if you made it this far, like, hello. Yeah. All right, that's it for this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and I'll make more videos like it. Hit the subscribe button if you find my channel valuable. Because yes, this non-dual experience and what I've explained in this video, that's one part of being human. That's the absolute. And then the relative is also the skills and things that are necessary. You gotta have both. All right, take care.